Happy Pokémon Scarlet and Violet Day. Welcome back to the Carmine Podcast, everyone. Ron, for the lovely people listening to this in the future, it's Scarlet and Violet Day. Get excited, man.
Woo!
That was it. That was the excitement.
Sometimes I wonder if you guys actually listen to this and want to be very calm and meditative, and then whenever I scream every once in a while, it just ruins that. I don't know. Tell me if it does.
The Calm Mind Podcast was named to be juxtaposed specifically to your overexcitable nature.
Yeah, which, I like doing that. I like whenever I'm surprised, or whenever, for example, whenever we get a good or bad Pokemon that we randomly generate. I do enjoy either being overexcited or being angry about it. People think, I've gotten some comments there, people are like, oh, we don't like hearing you being sad about the Pokemon, so don't stop doing that. But it's I'm never really sad if it's a Pokemon that, if we randomly generate a Pokemon that I don't want to use in the thumbnail or I don't like or whatever, it's fun to complain about it. It's entertaining for me. So it's not a negative thing for me. Don't worry about that.
I liked the moment of pure joy when I guessed Meditite.
Oh, that was the best.
That was actually I was editing that one and just listening back to that moment. I was like, yeah, that was good. That was great. That was a good moment.
Yeah, so more of that, please.
So, for those of you who are listening to this right now, if you're listening to this on the day of release, it is Scarlet and Violet Day. For us, poor cretins of the past, we don't have our hands on Scarlet and Violet just yet. But because it's coming out, we're obviously going to have a lot on our plate because, I don't know if you guys know, we're both PokeTubers. You know about this, Ron, right? We work in the world of Pokemon YouTube.
I'm just finding this out right now, honestly.
Okay, well, that means that you're going to be busy over the next couple of weeks, and so am I. And so
I have plans.
Well, we got video games to play, man. No work for you. As a result, we are going to be taking some time off, but there will still be stuff here on the Calm Mind Podcast. In fact, we're going to try our first live show next week on the 25th of November, and we'll be giving you a sort of live, more organic thoughts about the game, and as well as many other, I'm sure, regular Calm Mind topics. We don't have a specific time in mind just yet, so if you want to stay up to date as to when specifically the live stream is going to be,
it should be around the afternoon Eastern time.
Yeah, that somewhere in that zone. We'll be tweeting about it. It'll be on our community tab. We will let you know as soon as we know. But that's the 25th. If you want to get our kind of a week on from Scarlet and Violet thoughts, that's the place to find out. So come along and join us on the Calm Mind Podcast live.
Yeah, and to all the Americans, that's Black Friday, by the way. But by then, you should be done with all your Black Friday shopping by afternoon, by the time the live stream hopefully starts. Maybe, I don't know, in the live stream, tell us what you bought. Look forward to that. I don't know.
Yeah. I think there's going to be, we're going to try an element of sort of live response to you as well, so that when we say silly things and stupid things, you can correct us and tell us live. And you can also take part in the conversation and ask us questions. And while we won't be replying to absolutely everything, we might pick up on a thing here or there and want to talk about it.
Because, you've probably witnessed it a bunch of times in the podcast as the audience, where whenever I'm saying something that I think could be controversial or people in the audience may have completely different opinions on, I will now start defending every single position that I can think possible. But now if we start doing these live streams instead, you guys are in the chat and you can literally just tell us your opinion of anything controversial or opinionated or divisive that we talk about. That way I don't have to defend myself. I could just hear your guys' opinion in the chat. And then we just save a lot of time. I can save my controversial point.
You can save. We can save worrying about what the audience will think, because we'll know what the audience will think because you'll be there.
And then we also don't have to edit.
That also helps out hugely with that. With the new games coming out, I know certainly we're both going to be very busy on new videos, and just editing is the thing. I'm stressing. Are you stressing about the new games?
Very, very much so.
Oh, cool. I'm glad it's not just me.
Every single, before a release, the whole week, I can barely sleep. Not out of excitement, but out of fear.
Yeah. You'd think it'd get easier. We've been doing this for 7 years. I am so stressed today. I'm on edge. I'm you poke me and I'm I'm off. I'm so agitable. Is that the word?
Maybe the opposite than what you have, because you're doing content based on it, right? You're live streaming it?
I'll live stream a little bit of it, yeah.
And then you're also going to immediately start making videos about it. But for me, it's the opposite. I'm nervous because I am not doing any content. So when I'm playing the game in my own time, I'm thinking, I really should be live streaming this, or I should do this faster so I can get some videos done. But I like to play these games way slower than the average PokeTuber. It's if I had it my way, I would play this over 3 months instead of a week and a half perhaps 2 weeks maximum, because I really have to release a review. And making a review is like, that's the hardest video to make. It's the most intense script, so much editing, so much like capturing footage. Also, while I'm playing, I have to write down any opinion that I have. So it's like not the best time for a PokeTuber, but also the best time because we love Pokemon so much. So
I actually really feel that. Except the idea of a week and a half to play sounds magical. I'm gonna be like cramming this in like 3 days, man.
That sucks.
It does suck. I was talking to. I've spoken to this to viewers about this, and I have like one of my editors, for example, like when it comes to leaked content, for example, they say, why don't you just avoid the leaks and just play the game and don't watch too many of the trailers? And I'm like, well, because a lot of the content that I make and have developed over the years is based around the reveal cycle of the games, because that's the content that I enjoyed consuming, and I like making speculation content. When it comes to the leaks, I get sent that stuff in image form through social media without even being asked. So at this point, if I'm going to see it, I might as well see it as early as possible to, kind of prepare my brain for what kind of theories I might want to make, yada, yada, yada. And then when it comes to the actual games, it then becomes like a race to like make that theory before someone else. And so the first playthrough, I'm just spending so much time just like taking notes and like getting footage while playing and like all of that jazz, and I really want to be done with the game in like 3 to 4 days. As a result, the experience is not optimal. It is far from optimal.
Even worse for these games, since these are probably the games with the most paths, so many places to explore, and I don't want to rush through them. I really do want to look through every corner. So that's what I'm the most scared. I don't want to like even though I don't have to make content about it, well, at least as much as other PokeTubers, I'm still scared that I will mentally, have anguish because of this. I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you guys know if it happens.
I'm sure it'll go all right for all of us. How did you find last year, or not even last year, technically this year's reveal for Legends Arceus? How did you find that all went down for you?
So originally, I streamed the first 2 days, and I just didn't enjoy streaming it as much as, again, other PokeTubers. And then the next week, I just played it on my own, and I had a lot of fun. But I think it was less stress because it's like, it's a relatively barren game in terms of like locations and like plot points. It's like there's a lot of things to write down other than like just general experience. It was like as easy as I guess as Diamond and as the Diamond and Pearl remakes too. And also I guess because the Diamond and Pearl remakes came out like literally like 2 months before, I already like stretched those muscles. I warmed up for Legends of Arceus in terms of like I knew how long it would take
to get the work done. Yeah, I see that.
So I was less nervous. But now this is literally a completely new game, new format. I don't know what's going to happen. And again, the most ambitious Pokemon game, this is scary.
The not knowing what to expect is really hard. And then there's like, I'm juggling right now a number of other obligations. So like I've got brand obligations with brands that I'm working with who want sponsor segments in videos. One of those brands who I am absolutely adore and I think it's fantastic, they're launching their product here in the UK. And so they want me to be sort of part of the face of that product launch. And that's like on the 14th or maybe 15th. We don't know. And so it's for me, like this is my mortgage. So like I'm absolutely going to take part in this product launch that's happening straight before. And that product launch involves me doing stuff with the new Pokemon card set, which comes out on the 11th of November. And also it's my best friend's birthday on the 11th of November. So we're having a thing here that evening. Wow. And then you've got like just all of these little things happening that are determined to be involved in this like this 1 week period, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna juggle it all. I just assume I'll be alive. Like if we get to this live stream, this live episode of the Calm Mind podcast, and I have a calm mind, it'll be a miracle.
Well, it's funny because I guess we didn't even mention in the intro that we aren't releasing an episode on the day of this live stream.
Yes, this live stream is sort of the substitute for the episode, and then that live stream episode will be released a couple weeks later, right?
So we want to start recording these episodes on these live streams instead of, off, like right now we're not, you guys aren't seeing this live. And that way, it saves us a lot of time, But also, if you want to attend it, you get to see it live. But if you don't, the episode anyways will be released 2 weeks after as a VOD. So on YouTube and everywhere else. It'll be fun.
It will be fun. It'll be amongst the sea of stress. I had also one more stress just added to my thing. So this is like a stressful time of year. And then end of December, it's like, okay, unwind, enjoy the holidays, eat some food. Nope. I got a letter through my door saying you've been selected for jury service.
Whoa.
And it's like Christmas week, and luckily I've got it pushed back to January, but I'm all anxious about that because like what if they actually pick me? Like the way, I don't know if you know, the way this works in the UK is like you get a jury summons,
I think it's the same thing here.
Yeah, and then there's like a pool of like 100 people, and then they pick some jurors, and if they pick me, I've got to watch a trial or something and be
Sounds fun.
Productive. It sounds really interesting, honestly, but like,
well, it's January anyway. If it's January, that's literally the perfect time for you to do it.
It is a better time than now, but
why are you complaining?
Just because, what if they actually pick me to do a trial, and then I've got to watch a trial, and like someone's life could be on the line. Like, I mean, it's not going to be an execution trial, but like, you know, someone's where they're going to spend a lot of time, maybe in prison, could be.
If I was the defendant, is that the person being prosecuted?
Yeah.
Or the prosecutor?
Yeah.
If I was the defendant, I would be happy to have you in the jury.
You would?
Yes.
What did you do that I'm you know, because I'm not, I got to be impartial.
Like a parking ticket. I didn't pay
like
it.
a parking ticket?
I didn't pay a parking ticket.
It's the Crown Court. I think you got to do something a little bit more serious than the parking ticket.
Oh, the Crown Court. The Crown Court.
It's very serious. Don't mock the justice system. This is the Crown Court, sir.
Do you have to go to like London, or is this like a local thing?
I gotta go to, there's a sort of town nearby called Salisbury that I gotta go to.
Salisbury?
We didn't go there, but it's got one of the biggest cathedrals in all of the UK.
I don't care.
Yeah, that's why we didn't go there. Have you had to do this jury service or?
No, not yet. Oh wait, did I? Wait, did I?
What do you mean, did I?
Oh, I did.
I did, but how did you forget this?
No, I didn't have to do it. I was summoned, but I didn't have to do it because I had school. I had college. I could have just said I have school. That's what I said. It was like I was like 20.
Fair enough.
So no, I would have done it if it was now. I mean, not now. Like not during sun. I keep on saying Sun and Moon. Not during Scarlet and Violet hype and release.
I like the word summoned. It just makes me think of Yugioh. Like you've been summoned in attack mode.
I summon
True Green 7 in attack mode.
They don't like have like sounds that they make, right? The Yugioh card monsters.
They got different sounds.
What does Exodia sound like?
He's got kind of a hiss to him because he's got a little snake on his head, so he's kind of got this. Kind of. It's a hiss. Dumb. It's a hissing sound, and like summon skulls all. Probably. And Dark Magician is all like Dark Magician.
What is the female Dark Magician? Oh, he says Dark. He doesn't say Dark Magician. What are you talking about?
No, I'm messing you. I'm messing with you.
What does the female Dark Magician like? She like sound like just like a girl, and she like laughs, and that's it. Just giggles.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess she just giggles. Yeah, I don't know. It's
but Dark Magician himself, he doesn't. He has like a grunt.
He's
like,
stoic.
Like
he's a stoic dude.
Kind of reminds me of Link.
The Blue Eyes White Dragon, and I couldn't possibly make that, has an iconic sound. Like if you listen to that sound, it's like it's very much. Oh yes, that's the Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Not me. I wouldn't have recognized it.
Well, because but if you had listened to it and then you listen to it again, you'd know. You'd be like, Blue Eyes.
I remember. It's all coming back.
3,000 years ago, when the pyramids were young.
Oh, that's how it goes?
That's Yu-Gi-Oh! It's about
that's Yu-Gi-Oh! I really don't know anything.
Do you know? It's been a weird. You know what? Yu-Gi-Oh's been one of those things that it's having a weird resurgence right now, mostly because of big YouTubers like the Ant-Man and Moist Critical, like sort of dunking on it.
Oh yeah.
There's like a everyone's just like, yeah, modern Yu-Gi-Oh sucks. Why are we all hooked on it? And everyone is kind of hooked on it because there's like. Just it's so nostalgic and it's so like it could have been Pokemon, but then it just wasn't after like several years.
Wasn't the app like the game that came out on that you can play on their phone?
You can play on the phone.
Wasn't that popular?
That was popular.
Wasn't that popular?
Yeah, there's a couple. They've got a couple of games. They got Master Duel on the desktop, and they got Duel Links, I think it is, on the phone, and they're both like pretty popular services. Yeah. But the game itself is like, oh man, it's awful. It's just it's so bad. There's so many things wrong.
Playing
the game is so.
Oh wow.
It's like preparing for like an essay and learning how to like reference articles in the proper standard Oxford format, and like you've got to like really be up on your biblical readings when it comes to playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In order for it to make any level of sense, and even then it's just unfair and horrible. It's just not it's not a fun game to play. And if anyone in the comments listens and you're like, I play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I love it, yeah, I hate you. That's it.
Me too.
That's it. Yeah, and Ron agrees, so there you go.
I have your back, Toby.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
it. I mean, compared to, have you ever played, like, I don't know, Magic the Gathering, which I also have not played?
I played, like, once or twice.
And I assume that's as complicated?
Magic was really straightforward. From what the minimal amount I've played, and that's only sort of, like, with starter decks and stuff, it's a pretty straightforward game.
Why do people say that Pokemon card, the TCG, is, like, baby Magic the Gathering?
Because Pokemon's rules are so simple. But that doesn't mean that the game doesn't have any level of depth. It really, really does. I think like competitive Pokemon is really fun to watch. I do think there's a lot of luck that gets involved on the high levels of play. Like you find there's a lot of competitive players are playing around some pretty high levels of RNG, I'd say, just on like RNG, just based on like the decks are so big. But you can really construct the deck to be to your needs. And it's fun to watch those levels of play and understand them, even if you've only played like a little bit of Pokemon. But like Yu-Gi-Oh, you just can't do that.
With Magic the Gathering, is there also RNG? Like you just have to...
I'm not sure. I'm sure there is some randomness to it, but like Magic's the oldest, right? I think in terms of the various kind of popular fantasy card games.
Definitely the one that's lasted the longest.
Yeah. So I don't know. I assume they've got it down pretty good. I honestly haven't played enough to be able to comment. I'm sure someone in the comments can tell us. But you know,
this is why live streams would be perfect.
It would be great. They'd be able to tell us. So you never got into Yu-Gi-Oh?
Nope.
Digimon?
Never got into any TCG.
Digimon or
nope.
Bakugan or
nope.
Beyblade?
Nope.
Or Barbie?
I never got into any like fad, and if I did, it was not a fad for me. It lasted.
Yeah.
Like if I like a thing, I like it for a long time, but I could sense when something is a fad.
You had a nose for it with Pokemon. You were like, nah, this one's legit. The rest of those fakers, they're not on board.
Again, it wasn't even like mentally. I didn't like what's it called? I didn't
think
consciously. I didn't consciously do that. It was more like, yeah, that's the answer.
Dark magician. Sounds just like
for all these things, did you pick them up and then just stop?
No,
after a while?
Yu-Gi-Oh! I've kept playing, like, hate playing for forever. Like, I'm still collecting. I'm still, like, playing. I just hate it. And I find myself playing old formats and, like, versions of the game from, like, 10 years ago or 15 years ago more than, like, the current rule set and all that. But I mean, Beyblade I picked up at the time and didn't keep on over the years. That one stayed in the past.
And technically these aren't fads because they have lasted. But you know what I mean.
It was kind it was a big thing in the late 1990s, early 2000s, wasn't it? The monster tamer. If you've got your card that summons a monster, your Digivice that summons a monster, your Pokeball,
it's all down to the monsters themselves.
Yeah.
And Pokemon really just have the most appealing monsters.
Yeah. I agree. There's just like
I'm allowed to be biased. Some people are gonna be like, "Ron, you're just biased." Yeah,
but the thing is, like, when it comes to like the iconicness of them, I think the brilliant thing that Pokemon did really well is they said there's 150. I was like, the key part of their strategy was there is 150. Or there's just over 150. There's 151. But wink, wink.
More to see.
More to see.
To be a Pokemon master is my destiny.
Exactly. there was like a limited amount, and I was actually just thinking about this the other day, and I was wondering what your opinion was on this, because we're approaching the sort of 1,000 mark for Pokemon now, and I think that back when there was 151, each Pokemon very strongly had its own identity, whereas nowadays, like, and I think since Generation 5, there were a lot of Gen 1 reimaginings that kind of, while every Pokemon still has its own identity, some of them have to share the limelight a little bit, like even just down to like say the simple basis of like Infernape is a fire monkey, but now there's like another fire monkey, and then Simisage is a grass monkey, but now there's like 2 more of those this generation, and like it's not about that there's anything wrong or that these Pokemon can't all coexist. It's just simply a case that they have to share those identifying traits. And I think what Pokemon did in the 1990s, 2000s, which was really great, is each Pokemon really felt individual and had its own really strong identity, that other franchises...
Like Spearow and Pidgey.
Yeah, that's actually the exception. That's the one exception I was thinking about. But
but that actually is... No, that helps. You know why? It's because they made these actual animals in their world. And that's why you're allowed to have variations, that are very literally the same species but a little bit different, and while all the other monster capturing franchises, those monsters were not really part of the world.
Yeah.
It's not Pokemon was the only one with a Pokemon world. We all live in a Pokemon world.
This is true. Like with Yu-Gi-Oh, for example, the monsters are separated from the world by the proxy of the card game. And like, you can go into the lore and you can go, actually, they existed when people played with them in the Shadow games in ancient Egypt. But it's like, but for the 99% of it that we're all watching and engaging in, the way that these monsters... It's not like when Yugi plays the Summon Skull and the Summon Skull comes out of the card, he's like, hey, Summon Skull, how you doing, buddy? And that they have this relationship and that they even really remember each other. It's just a projection of the card. And I think that's where Yu-Gi-Oh suffered. So there was just the iconic monsters that kind of stayed with people. And then there's this kind of backlog of like tens of thousands of other creatures with ridiculous names that no one cares about. I guess Digimon kind of did that quite well in the early days, but it's still a separate world, right? The Digi world, but you go to it. Is that right? I didn't really watch much Digimon.
Yeah, I haven't either, but that's what I know.
Yeah. I
assume it's in the theme song.
I wonder where Digimon went wrong, because they really felt like they were onto something there.
Again, the designs, they're not Pokemon.
What is
they're
it
not as appealing as Pokemon.
A Digimon design.
Again, appealing is subjective, but in terms of marketing to a wide range of people, it is less appealing. Pokemon, it's like there's a Pokemon for everyone. The art style of Pokemon is so like unfortunately, because I'm so biased, it's like it is the art style. It's so neutral for me. The Pokemon art style, it's literally just the default art style of how a thing should look. Sure. Also, because all my drawings are in Pokemon art style by now. It's like not. I mean, the whole philosophy that I probably repeated a billion times in my videos and in this podcast of like not extreme, in terms of in any direction. It's not. All the cool Pokemon have something goofy about it. All the cute Pokemon have something cool about them. All the and also the progression of like they can evolve even if they are too cute. They can evolve into something cool.
Yeah,
like it's like the evolution is probably the number one most appealing part of Pokemon.
Yeah,
while the Digivolving is way less straightforward.
The other issue is that I think like when Charmander evolves, it becomes a big red dragon, and when Venusaur evolves, it becomes a giant green grass frog lizard thing, right? But where Garugumon, I think, Digivolves, it becomes, I believe they all just become like mecha people with like a million pointy parts.
Mecha angels.
I have no idea what they're all doing. That might be right. That might be
wrong. Those are cool. Those are appealing.
Yeah, but it's all of them.
I don't want to have that near me. By my side as like a best friend chilling on the couch, watching a documentary.
Yeah, it's like one is like, hey, here's my pet dragon, and the other is like, hey, here's my pet tank person. I don't know if they're an animal anymore. I'm really not sure. You know what I mean? Like, whereas with Pokemon, it's always felt that like you're the tamer, the Pokemon tamer with these creatures beside you that are all incredibly powerful and they're all cute or whatever. And it was just so good with the branding. But I think starting with just a smaller pool at that time, whereas like, and limiting themselves in that way and giving each Pokemon a lot of time and attention, I think really, really helped Pokemon in a way that the other franchises just kind of fell off on, you know?
Well, in terms of marketing, I think it's the fact that Pokemon really did market to everybody.
Yeah.
You know, boys, girls, adults, kinda sometimes. Like, while Digimon was like, it's Digimon, they're digital monsters, the boys will love them.
I guess so.
At least in America.
Yeah.
At least in America. In the West.
There was I think there was the horribly stereotypical, it's a pink bird though, that's the one for the girls, I think was their thinking.
Yeah.
You know, rather than just like Pikachu, which appeals to both, you know, to everyone, right? No matter what your gender is or whatever, like Pikachu is appealing to you because it's cute but cool, and it's like, it's just neutral in that kind of way. Whereas I think the mistake that they made with Digimon is they made a bunch of stereotypical 12-year-old boymons, and there's one for the girl. You know what I mean? Like, I just think they
and it was cool that they like later like evolved, and Digimon is now like marketed towards like adults even, while Pokemon's still, you know, marketed towards kids. But then again, now Digimon is mostly for adults instead of kids. I don't think any kid knows about, or I mean, again, they do.
Sure.
Compared to the olden days of 1999, nobody, like, kids aren't playing Digimon, while adults, maybe they are, I assume. Mm-hmm. And just, you know, kids is where you market, you know?
I guess so.
Kids are where the money's at.
Beyblade.
They have the money.
Beyblade is also one where, like, did you ever watch any Beyblade?
No.
The monsters are, it's just like Yu-Gi-Oh, except the monsters live inside the Beyblade. And then, like, while the spinning tops are doing battle in the arena, the monsters come out of the bit beasts, as they're called. They come out of the Beyblade. Yeah.
I think that's, again, why Pokemon is so popular. It's really straightforward. It's the monsters fighting the monsters. Yeah. Like, it's not like...
You know, and that's the other one, is that it's, like, it's all dragons as well. Like, with Beyblade and with Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I mean, okay, obviously I know with Yu-Gi-Oh! there's a creature for every type, but it, like, in Pokemon, in Gen 1, there are 3 dragons at best. Charizard, Dragonite, maybe Aerodactyl or Gyarados if you count them, right? But like with and even only one of those is dragon type. But with like Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like you got the blue eyes white dragon and the red eyes black dragon, and then you've got like the cyber dragon and this dragon and that dragon.
They really made
dragon.
They made it look like the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, the monsters that the Yu-Gi-Oh, what are they called? Yu-Gi-Oh monsters? What are they called?
Dual monsters.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. The dual monsters that you want to use are the big, strong-looking dragon thingies, right? While in Pokemon, it's like, they really drove home that it's like, you can use any Pokemon you want. Like, you can have a tree. You can use a turtle. You can use a ball. Like, it's like... And that's what's appealing. It's like...
Yeah.
Saying, again, it's all the... Like, for example, like... And then there was also like Bakugan and things that, like, I assume you were already like a teenager by then.
Gormiti.
Gormiti too. Yeah, it's like I had a younger brother, so it's like he was still into all these things.
Yeah.
While I was a teenager, so I definitely not consumed them, but was aware of all these things after the fact. And it was fun. It was fun seeing my brother enjoy them, and just like I like monsters and I like creatures and I love fiction and I love cool battles and magic systems. But it's like, you can tell when something's going to last. I guess because as like a Pokemon quote-unquote expert, I think I just can compare it to Pokemon and know how successful they do each aspect. I'm trying to think of I'm trying to think of what's an aspect that one of these franchises has done amazingly well. And I guess, Digimon was the closest in terms of like anime, for example. That was an actual anime.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like, it was probably for kids at the beginning, but it's like these anime are appealing to anime fans, while all the other ones, they were really just trying to recreate Pokemon's
success. Cash in on that, yeah.
Digimon wasn't. I can concede that Digimon wasn't like a Pokemon clone at the time of its release.
No,
you know?
Sure.
And that's admirable. Yu-Gi-Oh wasn't either, because again, the manga isn't about the cards; it's about just games in general.
Yeah.
So it's like that was like a good manga I hear.
Well,
Like,
the manga started with Yu-Gi-Oh, like the card game Duel Monsters is one of the many games that he plays, and that it just became that those issues became popular. So they were like, oh, we're gonna make the card game, and they I think they made the card game like 5 times. Like there are beta versions of or other versions of Yu-Gi-Oh in other card formats made by other companies from before Yu-Gi-Oh is where it is today, which is kind of wild.
like if you want me to like concede even more, like or just give merits to one of these to each franchise, because they all do have their merits. Like for example, Beyblade, that's a good actual physical game. Like playing
it
Beyblade,
is. It was really fun.
and that's like an age-old game, like tops versus top. That's like a whole. So like Pokemon has the best franchise, at least in terms of like classic how to make a franchise. Objectively, that's how you do a franchise. Yu-Gi-Oh has the best perhaps manga. I don't know. Digimon has the best anime. Although Pokemon anime is subjective too. But like in terms of like classic how to make an anime that people will enjoy, actually, yeah, Digimon did it well. Beyblade physical game the best. Bakugan in terms of like unique idea, in terms of like the peripherals, that's so cool.
Yeah.
You know how Bakugan works? That's so cool. You just throw a ball, it opens up through using magnetism. How do magnets work? I don't know. They're cool. And then what was the other thing?
Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Beyblade, Gormity. There you go. I don't know.
Gormity was kind of...
Yeah, they were... that one kind of sucked. Hey, they had the best advertisements, I guess. I don't know. I have no idea.
At the time, I think when Gormity came out, I still am huge into Avatar and Korra, right? And I think Gormity was the one where like there was a lot of elemental stuff, and I really liked the elemental stuff.
Have you seen the trailer for the Avatar, The Way of Water? And I'm like, cool, when are we going to get The Way of Fire, Earth, and Air? There's the new...
They should have had... That's even more... Like, that's hilarious. They knew what they were doing.
They knew exactly what they were doing. They're just trying to cash in on that Avatar success.
Hey, that's 100%. You mean... Avatar by James Cameron's success, because that was way more successful than
biggest
Avatar.
What was it? The most money making film at the box office until like Endgame or something.
And then but then they re-released Avatar, and Avatar is now still number one.
I think they're just trying to net in those additional few Avatar Nickelodeon fans.
It sucks that they called it Avatar.
I know.
Like it ruined everything. Like when I was a kid,
it ruined everything. It ruined everything for me as an Avatar fan.
Nowadays, you can easily say the Avatar: The Last Airbender, but like as a kid, when you're saying, "Oh, I love Avatar," and then like this Avatar Blue People movie comes out, everybody's like, "Wait, that's the show that you like? That's what the show. That's what the show's about. Blue People." Yeah. No, not that they don't. They think that that's what Avatar: The Last Airbender is about. Yeah. They thought Avatar: The Last Airbender was about blue people, blue aliens.
That's upsetting. That's deeply upsetting.
And then they saw and then they saw Avatar, the movie, and they were like, "Yeah, it's cool," but it's like I wouldn't want to see a show about that. But that's not what the show is.
Yeah, 100%. I don't get how Avatar is the money making thing that it is, and I assume it was to do with the 3D release, right? It was,
because everybody watched it in 3D. Yeah. It was fun. It was fun in 3D, honestly. Like it sucks that like the only reason nobody's it's gonna be a very money making movie. Very money making. It's gonna be a high grossing movie, the Avatar sequel. But it's not gonna be as hype because nobody's gonna watch it in 3D, and a lot more people are gonna not go to the theaters. Here's what's funny: like Avatar, the 2009 Avatar film, the original. That was the only film that my dad has ever seen in theaters in the last, 30 years.
Whoa. Really?
Even my father, who does not watch movies in theaters, he's a huge cinephile. We have a movie theater in our basement. That's why, he doesn't need to go to the theater.
I see.
And he doesn't like the experience. But it's like, that got him out of the house.
To go and see the experience. That's so wild. So I guess that really was like, I was slightly too young to remember. I mean, not to remember it. Like I remember it, of course. It was I was at school. It was, but it was, I didn't know it as this kind of big cultural moment there's a film in 3D, and I'm like, I've seen Spy Kids 3D. I know what a 3D film is. That's cool. And then that was me going to the cinema. You know?
Oh wait, I saw a billion 3D movies at the time.
Yeah, 3D movies were out.
I probably saw like 20 3D movies.
I think there was something about the tech had changed that got everyone excited. You have to see it in 3D was the marketing that everyone drove home.
Yeah.
And it was
because the CGI was perfect at the time. It was like the best CGI at the time. So it's like I get it.
Yeah.
And the CGI for the new Avatar film is some of the best things I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, it looks insane.
So it's like, so I get it. But it's all about plot. And it's the first film that was so interesting that literally nobody cares about. It's one of the first films that were such a huge phenomenon that people also did not care about the plot or characters.
Mm.
That's why it was so interesting. What was I going to say? But you know when something is like a phenomenon, when the religious figures talk about it in their like speeches.
Oh yeah.
So like when you go to church, or like in my case, like when you're in school and like the rabbis are giving their like it's called a Dvar Torah, where it's like, you know, speeches about like that week's Torah portion or whatever. And these religious figures always want to like incorporate something like in pop culture to like as like a metaphor for some religious thing. And you know, my rabbi
is that rabbis trying to be relatable? Is that? Yeah, I'm hip. I'm down with the kids.
You don't even understand. My principal of my high school, for example, he had like a class kinda that was all about relating pop culture to like just lessons and like not like necessarily religious lessons, but lessons in general, and like learning how to like, you know, extrapolate cool metaphors and lessons from.
I mean, that just
media.
sounds really good. That just sounds like a class that everyone should be taking.
So I'm actually trying to think of an example of one of the speeches, but I can't. We were all zoning out during these times. Like, they're trying to relate to us, but it's like, we don't care.
Do you know what I care about? More than anything. Is what Pokemon we're going to generate for this release day of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
Well, we know for a fact it's not going to be a Gen 9 Pokemon.
Well, so we can always do a little switcheroo if it's not, you know, for a random new Pokemon.
Oh my god, we generated Sprigatito. What do you think Sprigatito's evolution is called?
Well, if Pidgeotto became Pidgeot, then Sprigatito becomes Sprigatitot. How that works.
Before we generate, I want to point out the fact that Toby, you are literally wearing, you guys can't see this, but Toby is literally wearing the jumper that, the sweater that the Lo-Fi girl is wearing.
What do you mean I'm wearing the jumper that a Lo-Fi girl is wearing? Hang on, I'm going to Google.
It's literally the exact same make and model that the Lo-Fi girl is wearing. And you're also wearing a watch that is the exact same color as her scarf.
Hang on, I'm gonna look at the label in the back. It's is there a label in the back? I'm gonna work this out for you all. We're gonna finally solve it. You're right, I am wearing the. Okay, there's no label in the back.
We'll never know.
I'm sorry. I can't help you.
Where does she buy her clothes? Where does the Lo-Fi girl shop? H&M. Let's generate the Pokemon.
Might actually genuinely be an H&M jumper I'm wearing.
Whoa! It's a Pokemon that has kind of clothes on it. It's not actual clothes, but it's one of the Pokemon that successfully incorporates like a clothes-like element to their body. Do you want to guess, Toby?
Is it Meditite?
No, shut up.
Because of the tights. No, what you got?
Honchkrow!
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're putting down there. It's got the beak that everyone wears.
Amazing. The essence of Italians in a crow. Oh my god, I love it.
Yeah, you said Honchkrow, not Hawlucha, so that's where I got confused. Honchkrow's cool.
You're like, Hawlucha.
Hawlucha's
the essence of Italians.
It's got the Libre, you know. But yeah, you're right. No, Honchkrow's cool. I really like Honchkrow. Honchkrow's grown on me a lot. There was a Pokemon card.
Love it.
I'm going to send you this Pokemon card. I don't think you'll have seen this. But there's this Pokemon card of Honchkrow. And it's like the coolest thing.
And let me guess. There's a Honchkrow.
There is a Honchkrow in the card. Yeah, I'm not just sending you a random Pokemon card. Hold up. I'm going to send this over. And you're going to get Ron's live reaction. So you're going to get it actually live if we were live. It's a new one as well. It's like a relatively new from Brilliant Stars.
Oh, yeah, that's beautiful.
Isn't that gorgeous? It's stunning.
Yeah, I love that art style. I want that for every Pokemon.
Stunning. Yeah, Honchkro's cool. It's a real, and you're right, like, it really does wearing a hat justice for a Pokemon.
Because, yeah, birds have plumage, so you can easily add a hat to their head. That's like the animal with the most hats.
Yeah. Honchkro's got a lot of personality about it, and you can see, like, I feel like evil team leaders use Honchkro, right?
Yeah. And I think people always cite this as an example of why Game Freak animation sucks, because the animation for Honchkro in, like, in Revolution is so amazing, where it dies. that's what's so amazing about it. Where it, like, when it faints, it, like, tips the hat like a Redditor.
Am I right in thinking that Giovanni has a Honchkro? It feels like he should have a Honchkro.
I know for sure Cyrus has a Honchkro.
I guess. I really feel like Giovanni should have one. I guess there's Murkrow in the Team Rocket base. Maybe one of the Team Rocket admins have one.
People always misunderstand, although, again, it makes sense, that, like, Giovanni is a Yakuza boss, not a, like, Italian mob boss.
No, I get that, but there's, so wait, Honchkro is specifically Italian?
I mean, I don't know his nationality, Toby.
Okay, but yeah, because you mentioned it's Italian at the beginning when I was getting...
I think Honchkro is more specifically based on Italian-American mobs than a Japanese mob boss.
Okay, got ya.
Unless I'm completely wrong.
You probably are, but that's fine.
Because there really isn't anything Italian about it. It's just a meme.
Sure.
Like, anything that has to do with the mob, it's like, that's Italian culture. But it's like, I'm looking at it. I'm trying to think of every single origin for it. Maybe let me look at its Japanese name. Because if its Japanese name refers to something that is Italian, then it's definitely an Italian-based Pokemon. Yeah, so Don Karasu. So Karasu is Crow, and then Don.
Yeah, as in a Don.
Yeah,
as in a...
Don.
Yeah.
Mafia boss. Yeah. Specifically, usually an Italian mafia boss.
All right.
So it's
there you go.
Yeah, the boss in a Sicilian and Italian-American mafia boss.
I really like Honchkro. This card, it's got the ability as well, Boss Pockets, which I assume is, again, like a reference to the fact that it is the boss. It is the leader of all the Murkrows. You never really got into the Pokemon cards, right? I feel like we've spoken about this maybe privately and maybe a little bit on the podcast, but I always wanted to ask you more, because I feel like you're such an artwork-oriented person.
I was collecting the cards and during my childhood just like everybody else, so during Generation 3, half of Generation 4, and then I told you that I realized that for the last, like, year, during Generation 4, I was collecting fake Pokemon cards, and then
you stopped.
Haven't collected since Generation 4.
Again. You would enjoy these alternate arts so much. These big full artwork ones.
I can look at them online.
I suppose. I just want someone else to...
Are you hanging your cards?
No, they...
And you have a lot of cards, and you're not even hanging them.
Sometimes they go on display, and sometimes they go in a little book, and I flick through the book, and it's a book of enjoyment.
Yeah, and I do that sometimes. I look at my old cards. I have, like, at least 300 good ones. Like, I have literally the Pokedex. I have...
Compared to...
From Generation 1 to 4.5, I have, like, 80% of all the Pokemon there.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Which is fun. It was very fun. It was very fun collecting. But by now, it's like I already don't have Generation 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
It's like I'll never get that unless I really get into it a little too much. So what's the point? Unless I really start fresh. Like, that's, again,
gorgeous
why
new
I think
artworks that are, like, they're so good. The last couple of years has just been wild when it comes to art. I don't know. I think I assume that it's something that if you got into it now because of the art and how phenomenal it's got, and not just the alternate arts, even the regular arts, and then also the way that the cards' abilities and attacks are, like, for example, Boss Pockets are reflections of the Pokemon, I think you would get a lot of appreciation out of them as a collector.
I would. Especially as, like, a fan of also, like, the Pokemon characters. A lot of them are incorporated into cards nowadays. But I think if I had the option to just buy a print of these, like, once a month, buy a print of a Pokemon card, I'd do it.
Yeah.
$10, let's say. $10 to $20, I'd do it instead of buying a pack.
That's fair.
Like
there are ways you can
cards.
enjoy the Pokemon cards without buying them, and there are art books that come out all the time, and that they've got high res scans and prints and stuff, and you could go anytime on Cerebi, to be fair, and just see, like, high res versions of the card, which is also a very fair way to enjoy Pokemon cards, and a lot less costly as it has been for me.
Is there Is there like still a mob in the UK now?
A mob in the UK? If there is, I don't.
Like crime.
If there is, I don't know.
Organized
about it.
crime.
I don't know about it.
It's not famous. It's like what Peaky Blinders. That's like what 120 years
I've not
ago?
seen it.
I don't know. I never watched it.
it.
Me neither. But I'm just assuming there was definitely crime in the UK. There was definitely crime in England.
No, I don't think so.
But I don't know if it's like big organized crime. I mean, it's not like it's still a huge thing in America either. But it's just way more famous. But like for example, I live very close to basically the center of a lot of famous mob movies and mob families. Literally, I can just drive to it 10 minutes,
Okay, this is beginning to
places.
sound a bit like a threat. Like, literally, I can just go and see, like, my mob friend and, like, nice podcast here. It'd be a shame if something were to happen to it, It feels like you're just threatening me.
There's, like, a mob for every ethnicity or nationality in New York.
Interesting.
I don't know if it's prevalent anymore. Definitely 90s and earlier. Again, if you needed money, you go to.
I think in
whatever.
London, the word mob has connotations that I don't know that vibes with London. I think London is gangs, if I'm not mistaken. And it's like there's a lot of gangs that come out of London.
The gangs aren't organized crime, right?
No,
that's just a gang.
Yeah, I think that's what the kind of separation is that to say not organized isn't to say completely disorganized. There is a level of this is our territory, that's your territory. I've watched some videos on it. I would not claim to be an expert or even. I've just got passing knowledge, So maybe
do mobs have territory? I don't think mobs have territory. Again, it's these are just old. Usually even European white guys,
There are places in
there's
London.
There's the Chinese mob, there's the Japanese mob,
Right.
there's every kind of mob. But it's gangs are usually for younger people who don't have a place and they just have to find a group because they're poor. But a mob is more like adults who have money and investing in money but by doing crimes, selling drugs, investing in crime basically.
I think I would assume that organizations exist like that in the UK. I don't know whether they call themselves mobs or whether they call themselves gangsters, but not gangs, but gangsters, and whether that would be
gangster
different.
would be a mob.
There's definitely I've seen really interesting interviews from ex kind of mob members or whatever or gangsters who have. There's one very famous who's he considers himself a businessman and he talks all British and he's got I've seen some interviews with him and after serving jail time or whatever, but I have watched. There are videos you can watch online of the gang wars in London over the years and why certain gangs attack other gangs, and it's really fascinating. Usually, you're right. It is sort of people who unfortunately don't have a lot going for them, who are just grouping up with others, and then you live in this postcode, I live in this postcode, your guys hurt one of our guys, so now we gotta come get you, and then it's just cycles of revenge. It all sounds very, very miserable and dark, and I have been told by friends who live in London, if you're suspected to be part of Gang A and you're in Gang B's territory, leave now, because you can get hurt, you can get in trouble. But
and if you're not part of a gang, you can just walk there.
Presumably the gangs know, but mistaken identity happens, and there have been people who have been killed or attacked because they've been suspected.
I can't just say I'm True Green 7.
You probably could. 7. You probably would be fine. You could say I'm True Green 7.
The Green
I'm
gang,
part of the mob, and
part of the Green gang,
the Italian mob, and they'll come over. The True Green mob.
Oh yeah, have you ever watched The Godfather?
Yeah. Watch Godfather.
You ever watch Goodfellas?
I think I've watched Goodfellas.
Watch Goodfellas again.
Okay.
Because these are, I don't know, it seems like the most famous, critically acclaimed movies are apparently mob movies, I guess. But when you come to New York, I will take you to the Godfather home, for example.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Amazing neighborhood. I love walking there. I also take you to place that is in a famous scene in The Goodfellas, but you would have to rewatch it to remember that.
That sounds dope. Yeah, that'd be awesome. we had to watch The Godfather for drama. That was like one of the films that they sat us down and they were like, you watch this Marlon Brando man and you watch how he do, and we had to
That's more for the acting.
Yeah, that was for the acting. But then also like Goodfellas, Godfather, Scarface, like all of these films are films that when you're doing a film course, like these are the films that people are talking about, and while there's not like a mandatory list of films that you should watch, there sort of becomes a mandatory list of films that you should watch if you're gonna be able to engage in the discussions. And so while I watched many of those films, there are still plenty that I haven't. Like, I've watched Goodfellas that way. I'm pretty sure I watched I know I watched Godfather. I don't think I've actually watched Scarface. I think that's one that I haven't.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I don't think it's critically acclaimed, but I don't think it's like cinematically acclaimed, like
right,
as like a film cinematography or acting or plot or like screenwriting standpoint. It's just a good film.
I remember watching I watched a lot of films that way, and I found a lot of films that I really enjoyed. But I remember watching Fight Club, which, you know, is one of those films that everyone talks about, and I just didn't rate it. I didn't. I don't know why. It just didn't resonate with me.
Next, you're going to say you didn't rate Pulp Fiction.
I loved Pulp Fiction, man. Pulp Fiction was great.
I liked Fight Club way more than Pulp Fiction.
Really?
I love Pulp Fiction. No,
I really did.
I think I like Fight Club.
That was again, that's one of those films, right? It's just like a film that you should probably watch if you're upping your film education. I got about 100 films on that list still, and I add to that list whenever I have a conversation like this, and I say to the person, hey, here's the list of films I haven't seen, and they're like, you haven't watched this? You haven't watched this? And then they add, I'll be like, just whatever your best film is, tell me what it is, and I'll add it, and then, and then I'll try and get around to watching it one day.
Why do I feel bad that I have nothing to say when you say that?
Why do you feel bad that you have nothing to say?
I feel bad that you're looking at me, you're like, Ron, comment, please, so we can make this podcast entertaining. I can't just say I didn't watch these films and then Ron is silent and then we just move on.
Like, exactly.
If this was an entertaining, like, comedic podcast, what would I say? Like, what would I say to make that, to expound, to just make it so that story is worth entertainment value other than just like conversational value? Like, what if I said that thing, what would you say that would make that entertaining?
Are you reverse Unoing on me? I think you're trying to put a lot of pressure on yourself to make this into a comedy show, and it doesn't need to be a comedy show. We never signed up for that.
It doesn't have to be comedic. It's more like it should definitely be entertaining because it's a podcast.
Well, I think, if nothing else, just us having this meta discussion is probably made it pretty entertaining for the people listening who are now like, whoa, where did this go? Where's this podcast on its way to? I mean, we came a long way from Honchkrow, so like, and that was the point.
Yeah, I think I want to talk more about killing.
Okay, what do you want to talk about killing, mate?
You ever do it?
Once there was wait, hang on. This is going on the internet. Okay.
To bring it back completely full circle, spiders.
Whoa! That's like an episode, I'm gonna guess, 22 reference. I have genuinely no idea.
Episode 22, episode 20.
I'm eyeballing it. I have no idea. We're nearly on episode 30, dude. We're nearly on episode 30. That'll be the next one. And then...
Oh, yeah, we have to cash in our regenerating.
Oh, yeah, we do. But who do we generate? We got Honchkrow. Do you want Honchkrow on this thumbnail?
Yeah, definitely. Honchkrow's
okay.
Good. I don't know if it's good for the day of Scarlet and Violet.
No, we should probably have like a Scarlet Violet thing on the thumbnail, to be honest.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Because it really is, like... So, it's a waste of a good Pokemon on the thumbnail.
I guess. But also, Honchkrow's an awkward thumbnail Pokemon because it's got his little wing sticking out, and so it's all like long when it doesn't have to be.
At least it's
necessarily long.
At least it's a wing. At least it's a wing sticking out, not something else.
Like what? Like what, Ron? Go on. Make it entertaining. Yeah, okay.
I can't. I can't. I don't know how to make things funny. It really is a skill.
I'm laughing. I find it amusing.
You don't know how, like, It's the number one skill I wish I had.
You could learn, but if you wish you had a skill, you're not going to get a skill. So what are you going to do to make the skill happen?
It's not like it's
improv classes, sir. Improv. What stand-up
I
comedy?
want to take an improv class.
Okay, so where's your nearest improv class? When are you going?
Again, Manhattan. I'm not going to Manhattan.
Why not? You go to
same reason you're not going to London for improv
not
classes.
right now, but I will be. I'm gonna.
You're gonna now go weekly to London for an improv class.
I'm gonna do like a crash course over like several weeks next year at some point. I'm gonna do a 6-week binge course. There's someone I know, his wife runs a thing, so I'm gonna go do it. It's gonna be great fun.
Oh, but see, that's someone you know, and a wife of someone you know. I'm not gonna go by myself to a random place and not start doing funny things.
You literally walk around mobster areas. What are you talking about?
That is where the improv places are.
So you even know where they are. Look, Google Manhattan improv classes. Call up, just send a couple of emails. Just look, I know. Look,
yeah, but those are like, again, it's like, it's intimidating because I feel like this is a thing that everybody has whenever they have a hobby. They think they have to be good in order to participate in it. If I want to be part of like a football club or something, I have to now play football. I don't know. So because of that, I just don't do it.
It is intimidating. I was having this pre-Dungeons and Dragons. I was like, I know I want to play Dungeons and Dragons, but I've not really played Dungeons and Dragons. So when I play it, I'm going to be rubbish at it. And I'm just really anxious about that. And the best way I found through that was just in that first session to just say, I'm really worried I'm going to be bad at this. And everyone was like, oh, don't worry, we're anxious too. Great, sorted, done, dealt with. And then it was fine.
But the people in, like, at least in New York, because it's New York, it's like these are famous people in these improv classes, or not famous people, but people who want to be famous and people who are actually taking their comedy seriously. It's their craft, it's their career, maybe. I can't just be in a class with these people.
Okay, I completely disagree. I actually think that would make you the perfect kind of people to be in those classes. Because the thing is, for so many of those people, right, they're so like, this is my career, this is my everything, that it makes them very in their head and very hard to engage with just the practice of doing improv for the sake of doing improv. And I like much in the same way that I think often when it comes to like even being a YouTube creator, like sometimes the best videos that you get are from people who aren't YouTubers. They're just creatives who are just taking part in the process and trying it out, and they're enjoying the process very organically. And I think that's where you'd fit into it perfectly, and you would use that as a skill to enhance your work with on True Green 7.
I do want to do more improv like videos actually. Like, again, you have a green screen?
I don't know. There is one upstairs I can use if I need to.
Oh yeah, true. Can you bring it down to your office, or you have to go up there? I can bring it down. Okay, cool. Because I've told you the idea where I want to do this like whose line is it anyway style like series of videos, and I want you to be part of it. And we need a green screen for that. And I really want to just start doing that already, because it's like that would help if I could just do improv for the channel even.
Yeah.
If you're down, we'll do it.
Let's do it.
As soon as we'll do it next week.
Okay. We'll do it soon.
Wow, what do you have next week?
As of recording or as of this video going out? Either way, the answer is
video going out.
Either way, the answer is work. The answer is too much work. Yeah. This time of year, man.
January, February.
Yeah, January, February sometime. This time of year just stresses me so much. This has been a really nice, to be fair, like, podcast has been, like, kind of relaxing for me, because I've honestly spent most of the day just, like, refreshing my emails, like, going onto Discord, just, like, okay, is there going to be a trailer today, or is there like news from the brands that I'm working with, or what's happening out there, so that I know what I'm supposed to be doing? Because I've prepared most of my thumbnails for the videos I know I want to make, and I'm just now sitting waiting, just anxiously, like, oh, I guess I'm supposed to just go and, like, at this point, honestly, to play video games and relax if I can until work comes around. Because when it comes, it's gonna be the whole channel. It's gonna be my whole world for about sort of 3 weeks. I think it'll be nice to when we start having these podcasts live with the audience there. So that'll be from next week, the 25th. at around afternoon of Black Friday here on the Carmine Podcast YouTube channel. So, yeah, hopefully people can come along and we can talk about starting a gang or a mob with them. Say something entertaining.
Toby, we have a sponsor right now. I don't think they'll like hearing that.
Who's our sponsor?
I don't have anything funny to say.
All right.
I don't know any funny
Today's
company.
sponsor is Improv, which we're going to be learning very, very soon. Hey, enjoy Scarlet and Violet, everyone.